What's going on? This is GameWithSki, and I figured there wouldn't be a better time than now to build a computer. Well, better time than 2023 anyways. And what I'm going to do is give you the ins and the outs on building a computer. We're going to go through step by step on how I build a computer and not using those PC part picker stuff like that. I think that's a bad idea because of things like memory compatibility issues. So if anything, make sure if you don't get one thing, at least watch the how I select the memory because that's the biggest mistake people make when building a computer. Now, why do we want to build a computer now? Well, because prices have come down and the Bitcoin craze has kind of lulled. That means things are a little bit more affordable, and I don't think things will stay affordable for very long. I think going into later 2023, going into 2024, I think prices are going to begin to ramp up again as the Fed kind of loses control of inflation. They're not fighting inflation, folks. So now's the time. And another reason that now is the time is because prices or the technology. The technology is kind of at a little bit of a plateau, and it's going to be a while. It's going to be at least a year, maybe 2 years before significantly better tech starts hitting the market, um, manufacturing tech wise. So you're going to have this computer for longer, and there could even be additional production delays. And with the advance of AI coming, there's going to be a big AI bump. That means demand is going to really go up again. It's going to be like Bitcoin. It's going to be another Bitcoin craze, but it's going to be an AI craze, okay? So all these companies are going to be investing into AI. So they're going to need all this hardware, all this power, which means it's going to be more expensive for people like you to get this stuff. So you got to get your system now before they do. Okay. So that's pretty much it. So I decided to go all in. You could try to gamble and wait for a summer sale, which is probably the best bet. You might save another $100, or try to wait till Black Friday, but I don't know if it'll go that long. So this is what I do. I got Google Sheets here, and I'm doing personally a 4K streaming computer. You don't have to build what I build. I'm pretty much going for the best of the best, which makes it a little easier, but more expensive. So I go by item, my CPU cooler, motherboard, RAMs, SSD, GPU, PSU, case, Windows 11, and the total. And then we go the item, price, description, just like that. Where do I shop first? Newegg.com. Why do I use Newegg? Because it's the best for research purposes. So I click on the top left here and I go to components, CPU processors desktop. Then here on the left we have power search. We're going to go with sold by Newegg. Why sold by Newegg? Because there's all these other sellers and you don't know if they have a handle on their shipping. You don't know if you're getting like the right item. Sometimes there's a lot of counterfeit items out there, and a lot of those counterfeit items are because sellers don't have supply chain. They can't keep track of the supply chain. They just get it from whoever. So you don't know if you're getting a counterfeit item. And Amazon has that huge problem. Amazon has a massive problem with that. Massive counterfeits on Amazon. So that's why I like to shop Newegg. They have a handle. Newegg, Best Buy, they have a handle on their supply chain. So they know what they're getting directly from the manufacturer. You don't. All right, so we're getting sold by Newegg. We're going to go with in stock. Come on, in stock. CPU socket type. I'm going with Intel. And Intel LGA 1700 is the latest and greatest. I suggest if you're going Intel, only get that 1700. If you can't afford that, you go with AMD. So only go Intel 13th gen. Do not get a 12th gen Intel. That is very old technology. If you don't get an 13th gen Intel, again, I repeat, go with AMD. What else do we have here? A manufacturer Intel and condition new. And then we just click apply. So now we have this. Next thing we do, sort by lowest price. And we have these top 4 items here. And I don't think they have the one that I chose anymore anyways. Let's go here. We're going to go open each of these new tabs because there's a 13900F, 13900KF, 13900K, and then a 13900. So we're going to open all these in a new tab and see what the difference is between all these. There's definitely a price difference here. So let's see what it is. So you click on it. You're going to want to scroll down to specs right here. And what we really want to know is the turbo boost frequency. So this one here says 5.5 gigahertz. This one here, so that was the 13900 plain, up to 5.6 gigahertz, okay? Not good enough for me. The K, 13900K. Specs, 5.7 gigahertz. And this one has the Intel integrated graphics here. So if something happens to your graphics card, you can technically see if it is the graphics card because you have integrated graphics on here. The KF. Click on specs. This turbo is 5.7 gigahertz. This is no integrated graphics. This one's cheaper, 551. So integrated graphics is another $25 more. And the F. Let's look at the specs here. And the F has 5.6 gigahertz. Not good enough for me. So these here, they only had 5.7. I actually did go to Amazon for this purchase because they had a 5.8 gigahertz on Amazon. But I'm just going to stick with Newegg here because for easiness. So 13900 KF, we're going to save $25 and go with the non-integrated GPU. I have GPUs sitting all over the house, so I could swap those out. If I need to, price 550, let's say 555. It's 550, 552, 551 plus whatever. Okay, so we'll go with the KF. i9 13900 KF. LGA 1700. And then let's look for, oh. Yeah. What else do I put on there? LGA 1700. That's it, really. That's it. CPU cooler. Now, I went on Amazon for this. I know. I just bashed Amazon and now I'm using it. I'm such an idiot. CPU cooler. All right. What we have here is the Cooler Master Hyper 212. I have used this on previous AMD machines that were based off of the same thermal cooling units, 125 watts. So we're going to put 125 watts here. That's like the thermal temperature. That is the exact same temperature on the previous old AMD CPUs. People say you need liquid cooling. No, you do not. Personally, I do not recommend liquid cooling. I know people whose liquid coolers have destroyed their systems, okay? And all you have to do is go on YouTube and look up coolant leaks, and you're going to find it. So I've used the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. It has worked wonders, okay, on a super hot AMD system. The Hyper 212. I bought it back in the day, about 12 years ago, probably more, and for $25. Now it's doubled in price. And they made it all black. I'm interested if that cooler still works, actually, like would work. But I went with a different. This one is really cheap here, and this is almost the same thing as that Cooler Master Hyper 212, but it's only $19. I've heard some people are having luck with that, with this cooler here. I mean, it's a great design. It's just a excellent design, super simple, and ridiculously cheap. If you're getting anything that is not an i9, I would definitely go with this cooler. It's just works awesome. I mean, and you have to really think how much more the other cooler cools better than this. Probably, I'm thinking not much. Now, what I went with is the Peerless Assassin. So I'm going to type it in here. Right here. Thermalright Peerless Assassin 120 SE. But I got the non-RGB version because I don't care about RGB. Right here, $39.90, so $40. Look at all those heat pipes. Wow. Wow. It's an excellent, looks like an excellent design. I really would like to start testing like coolers and stuff. But this is what I went with. We'll see how well it does. The only thing I'm concerned about is the fit on the bottom. This right here. How well that is welded together. If it's like a perfect tineless seal. Because I think why the other cooler did so well is because it's those heat pipes on the other one are directly in contact with the CPU. They're like melded directly to it. With the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. I think, yeah, here it is. Hyper 212 Evo. Look at this thing, man. Click on this bad boy here. Let's see if we can, look right here. See that? Those heat pipes are directly in contact with the chip. So that's the only thing that I might think like, whoa, this cooler might be, you know, why this one is so effective is that is just machined flat like that. I'd really like a direct comparison between those two. But we went with the other one. So we're going to $40. Thermal. Peerless Assassin. Okay. Motherboard. Back to Newegg. We're going to go to the top left. Components. Motherboards. Intel motherboards. Now on the left side, we're going to go to in stock. Sold by Newegg. CPU socket type. That's what connects the CPU to the motherboard. LGA 1700. Chipset. I want the Intel 700 series. And then there's older ones. We want the Z790. That's the newest. That's where you can get the fastest memory. Okay, if you're going with the fastest chip, you want the fastest chipset to go with it. If you're not going with the fastest chip, okay, here's another mistake everybody makes, okay? If you're building a machine, build it completely decked out to the maximum performance that you could get evenly. Don't say, oh, I'm going to upgrade later. Because I used to do that all the time. I used to say, oh, I'm going to upgrade later. First, I'm going to upgrade this. And then I'm going to. Don't do that. It's a trap. It's a mistake because you end up never really updating it. And you're always having a bottleneck. And by the time you decide to upgrade it, well, your CPU is already it's already old. The only thing you can really upgrade, you should really ever upgrade, is your solid state drive, because that's your limited. That's your bottleneck almost every time. Okay, Intel Z790 chipset. Form factor. You want ATX. Do not go micro ATX. You want a nice big case. Okay? You want ATX because you want all those hookup connections too. And memory standard DDR5 with the fastest. Well, I think it doesn't really matter, but yeah. Condition new. No used stuff here. All right. So you could see there's a huge disproportionate in pricing here. So we're going to sort by lowest price. We want to save a little bit of money here. Now, I like to have a lot of SATA hookups and extra slots for solid state drives for adding on those faster drives as they become available. So that's why you want to get the full size ATX board. The micro and mini, that's if you're doing like a home theater PC or something that it's going to be very slow. High performance creates a lot of heat. You need heat. You need space between everything, and you need heat. You need to disperse that heat. So you need a large case, large motherboard, large cooler, things like that. Okay. This is the one I went with here. So we'll click it. MSI Pro Z790P Wi-Fi LGA 1700. Can take a look at that. And the zoom, it's fairly well priced. Let's go to specs down here. Max speed up to 700 megahertz. Memory. I don't know what 1DPC 1R means, but we'll get with that later, okay? So we'll write this down. 225 MSI Pro Z790P Wi-Fi LGA 1700. And make sure your memory is DDR5. Let's check it here again. I thought I was just there. Yes. DDR5 right there. Memory. So memory, I go straight to Corsair for this one. I usually go with G.Skill because it's super cheap. All right, Corsair memory in your internet search box. And then right here, computer memory, RGB RAM. Now, I'm not a fan of the RGB. I don't really care about RGB. I just care about performance. I don't even care about my Windows background. I don't have time for that. Okay. So we're on the computer memory page. Right here, there's a find by compatibility. We're going to click that. So I read some, I heard G-Skill had a lot of problems with memory right here. Usually G-Skill is the cheapest, and a lot of people had problems getting their memory to that 7,000 megahertz. Here we go, find by motherboard, right here. And what places like G-Skill and Corsair do, so if you go to the manufacturer website, they actually, it's their job. They just test memory with all these motherboards. And they try to hit the speeds. So they tell you what works and what doesn't. So our manufacturer, we're going to put our motherboard in here. MSI. And then we have the Pro Z790P Wi-Fi. Memory capacity. Here's an important part of memory capacity. Watch this. If I click 64 gig, let's sort by price, highest first. What do you notice here about this? You probably can't see this, but I'm going to tell you. The max speed here is only 6,000 megahertz for 64 gig. Let's go to the next page. Oh, what the hell? Yep, even slower there. Okay. Let's turn it down. Let's go to 32 gig memory. Now look at the max speed, 7,200 megahertz. So the way memory controllers work is you can't just buy 4 slots of memory and think that you're going to get 7,200 megahertz out of it. It's not going to work that way. You can only get that max speed as if you have 32 gigs. So that's what we're doing. Memory controllers can't handle that amount of data sifting through. So I go with this one right here. Come on. Corsair Vengeance, 32 gigs. DDR5. All right, so let's write that down. Price was $220. DDR5. 7,200. We get that top speed. They said it works. DDR5. 2 times 16 gigabytes. So that's 2 sticks, 16 gigabytes. I put BG. Gigabytes each. Okay? So that's how you choose your RAM. Make sure it's compatible, and they tested it. Or you won't get those super fast speeds. Now, if you're not going to get super fast speed, then you don't have to get a super fast processor. You don't have to worry about it as much. If you're really trying to save money, just go with like a Ryzen system. But Ryzen is kind of memory dependent too. So you want that memory speed. Super fast. Yeah, I don't know what to say. All right, let's see here. Okay, what were we getting next? We're going with the SSD. This is our storage. This is probably the most important thing for how fast. A lot of people, this is where the system manufacturers get you too. When you buy a pre-built computer, they get you on a cheap, crappy SSD. And that's where they're saving money. Think about this. When you load a game, when you turn on your computer, what has to happen is your memory has to take all that information. The operating system has to pull it from your SSD into the memory. So before you get your super fast memory, you are relying on your SSD. When you're playing a video game and you're loading into a new area, guess what? You have to pull that information off your SSD the first time you load in. So it's huge, massive performance gain from the fastest SSD. And I think that's what people should focus on more is the SSDs. Okay, we're looking for SSDs. So we're going to components. SS storage devices, SSDs, internal SSDs. And we're going to go with sold by Newegg. We want in stock. We don't want to see any of that out of stock trash. 2 terabytes and up. This is how you sort by capacity. Now, depending on how much you want, I'm going with 4 terabytes. I know I want 4 terabytes. I can't afford 8 terabytes. So get fast memory that you can afford. Okay, let's just click. There should be a speed one here. Here, max sequential read. Over 6,000 megabits per second. And actually, we're going to do you one better. Up to 7,000 megabits per second. And we are going to sort by lowest price. Now, if you notice, our motherboard came with a built-in heat shield for these. So we don't have to buy any of these that are $100 more. Oh, look. I did this. I looked earlier, and there was one here, and it's no longer here. It was a PNY one for $300. It's gone. And it looked like a great deal, but there was something mistaken. So let's check this out. We're going to open each one of these in a new tab, and I'm going to show you what to look for. So we got this team group one. We're going to go down to specs. What the? I missed it. Oh, specs is up here. Weird. Okay. 7,400 megabits per second and up to 1 million IOPS. That's super fast. Okay, that's what you want. This is what you want. Is the random read speed is way more important than the max sequential read. Sequential is like you're transferring a movie over. Random read is a bunch of small files, which is like if you're loading games and stuff. All those small files, little everywhere. Texture here, texture there. You want this random read speed. This is what matters. So that's the team group. Western Digital. Where's the specs at? Come on. Here's the specs here. Random read, 1,200 IOPS. So this is 20% faster than team groups. And then Corsair, which I'm a huge fan of. Corsair. Specs. But they don't list the information here. They only have sequential read. So you have to go and look that up separate, which I don't like. That makes my job harder. It means they're hiding something. See, the PNY was the same thing. They didn't show it. So I'm going to X that one out. I don't want the Corsair. And Kingston Fury. Let's see what we've got for specs here. Oh, and I missed it. And 1 million IOPS, sequential read 7,300. Let's go back to the team group. 7,400, 1 million. Oh, so it's... Now, I don't go with Kingston because remember that about 10 years ago, maybe less, Kingston they came out with their SSDs and they had a great price. SSD, well, there was a defect. The SSDs degraded rapidly. So you lost out on those speeds. So I don't like Kingston. Western Digital, they've been around. I don't know who makes their who they go with for their memory. I know Corsair uses Micron, which is very high quality. It doesn't say who who they go off of. If it's SK Hynix or if it's somebody Samsung. It doesn't really say where they get their chips from that they use because it's not manufactured by Western Digital. They actually buy it from somebody else. Okay, so this is who I went with though. Western Digital Black because it's all about the speed. 400 Western Digital Black SN 850X. Okay. Boom. Let's see what we're going with next. Oh, 4 terabyte. 4 terabyte. GPU. Now, is there any question about what the best GPU is? All right, let's go to that. Components. We're looking for graphics, video GPUs and video devices. Sold by Newegg. In stock. GeForce 40 series. You know it. And there is only one thing you should be getting for 4K is the 4090. It's the only thing that's capable of running anything 4K. Featured items, we're sorting by lowest price because it's all the same. Oh, these are refurbished. All right, no refurbished. I forgot to click new. I don't want refurbished. I don't want people open box stuff, things missing. Don't want any of that. And here we go. Graphics card is pretty self-explanatory. Why go with NVIDIA over AMD? I've seen a lot of pushing. I don't know if it's people or bots or why people are pushing the AMD graphics cards. I really don't know. But if you're doing any type of streaming, any kind of streaming, it is a no-brainer. You have to go NVIDIA. And why do you go NVIDIA? Because NVIDIA keeps its gaming cores and its video processing cores separate. All right, they're separate entities. So any kind of video processing you do is separate from your gaming. There is zero drop in performance for streaming with an NVIDIA card. AMD, it's all together, so you get frames. It's taking the streaming takes the power away. Doing video editing takes the power away from your gaming. So that's why you go with NVIDIA. $1,600. MSI RTX 4090. This is the first time in my life I've ever been able to afford the top dog of the GPUs. I've never been able to afford something great. I'm kind of because I'm old now. Power supply. So a machine like this requires a 1,000-watt power supply. You want to leave a little bit of headroom. Not today's best deals. Holy cow. Components, power supplies. So I already have a power supply that I'm going to attempt to use. It's an old one I have. It's 1,000 watts. I forget if it's still working or not. So right when I'm done making this video, actually, I'm gonna swap that in my computer that I'm using right now and see if it works. Sold by Newegg. In stock. And so there's a new thing. There's ATX, which was the old standard, and there's ATX 3.0. We want that. Let's see how many we've got. Okay. And there's power. So I want anything above 1,000 watts. Apply. And now, to know for quality, you want the certifications here. Gold, platinum, or titanium. I don't think any of those matter. Just at least it's one type of certification. And here we go, the RM1000. Now, I don't think you need to go with the 1200 watts. That's a lot of power. Here's one Thermalike Tough Power. This is 180. So we forgot to sort by lowest price. ATX3. We could go with that. Thermaltake, Corsair. I've never had a problem with Corsair. I don't know. Some people do. This one sold a lot. We'll just go with this one. It's 180. Let's see what they got for the. They got pictures of it. I don't know why they got computers. I want to see the wires, like the cables. I want to see the cables. Show me the cables, bruh. Okay, I don't like that. They don't show you the cables here. This one, they do here. Let's see what they've got here for plugs. Come on, zoom in. Double click image to zoom in. Okay. So they got their main power. 2 PCIe. Another PCIe. Okay, so this is the one here for your GPU. SATA peripheral floppy adapter. That's CPU PCIes. These are 4 SATAs, 24-pin ATX, and CPU PCIes. 12-volt HP power. So this is the new thing here, I think. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's see what the reviews say on here. It's always good to check out the reviews. Okay. Pulsed. All right. So this one, 10% here. I always add up the number 1 egg and 2 egg stars, and if it's over 10, I say no. Let's check out this Corsair. Check out the reviews. This one's a lot better. 4%. Okay. $10 warranty. Wow. All right, let's read here. I think I'm gonna go with this one. So they put all of them. That's what some things I don't like about. So Newegg, it looks like they put all the. Well, this is a 1200. Oops, I clicked the wrong one. That's no wonder that's so good. All right. We'll go with the RM 1000E for 180. Case. What kind of case should you be getting? Let's check it out. Computer systems. Oh, components. Computer cases. And computer cases. In stock. Sold by Newegg. ATX full tower. You want that full tower. You need the airflow, and for a big graphics card, you need that room. Condition new. Apply. I don't think there's anything else we need to look for here. And there was one particular that I really liked. I'm using my case, my old case. We're going to sort by lowest price. Now, one thing that you need to look for, you want at least 2 fans in the front. Okay, imagine a vacuum cleaner. You're vacuuming. You guys ever vacuumed before in your life? Okay. What do you have to do when you got that hose and you're sucking? You have to get that nose right up to something for it to suck in, because it's pulling. You have like, here's a paper towel. You're only sucking from like this area. This little area here is all that gets sucked. Everything else, the air is just like, it's like there's nothing happening. But if you're blowing through the vacuum, it goes. It blows, and you can blow things from far away. That's what you need to think about. You want to blow. You want the fans blowing on your components. Blowing that air on the components, because it blows a lot farther than it sucks. So you want more fans, all the fans you want blowing into the case from 1 or 2 sides. You want them into the case from 1 or 2 sides, and all the air exiting out the back. You want it all to go through and exit out the back. Nice, one big flowing mass of air in one direction. Because you need that airflow to cool this stuff down. This is really good. But the only problem with this is you have no CD drives. Some people don't need drives. I do. The only thing I wish is it had 2 fans up top and like my CD drives and stuff on the bottom. I kind of wish it was like that. But what case do I like? What would I get? I would get either this or this one right here. Oh, it looks like they have a 3rd fan there. So it's optional. That's pretty neat. I like that. So you don't have to have the fan if you don't want, but if you want a drive, you could put it in. What? I'm confused. How does it fit? Where does the fan go? It's got 3 fans up top as well. Does it? Or can you put 3 fans up top? Now I'm really confused. What's going on here in this case? Oh, it's only got 1 fan. Looks like you can add fans. Or does it come with these 2 fans here in the front? So you could put 2. Oh, okay. You could put 2 140 millimeter fans or 3 120 millimeter fans. I don't know. This one was the same price. It was like, I don't know why this one. But I like this one. All right. It's got a handle where you can carry it if you're going anywhere. All right. Looks solid. Okay. So I like this one. This is what I would get. I already have a case, so I don't need to get one. But Cougar Panzer Max Black ATX. 170. Panzer Lax. Laxatives. All right. And Windows 11 is 120, I think. So this is about how much a top-of-the-line PC is. Let's check out Windows 11. And here you can get a Windows 11 Home for 120, which is, that's what I got. OS operating system. Okay. Total 3507 with tax 3857. If I don't have, I don't need the PSU or the case. But that is how you build it. Now, you want to compare. Okay, let's compare and I'll show you. I will show you. We don't even have to go there. Let's look for gaming desktops. In stock. We want i9 and we want the 4090. Okay? Let's see what they got. Let's see if they can compare. Well, that's pretty good. It's pretty cheap. Oh, here we go. MSI. All right, let's see. Yinjin Gaming desktop. 3600. That's like what we paid. Let's see what they got. A 2 terabyte SSD. Do they even tell you what the SSD is? Probably not. Specs. They don't tell you. This is where they get you. And they get you on the chipset. Look at that. So it's a Z690. So it's slower memory. Memory speed. DDR5 5200. Oh. You see? So a system like this, why would you even get an i9? Those specs, that's like an i7. That's probably like an i7. Maybe even an i5 with depending on the solid state drive that they give you and the chipset. The 690. Okay? Let's try this one. This one's 4,899. That better be good, right? It's going to be better, right? It's $1,000 more than what our build is. Plus tax. Look, 64 gigabytes DDR5 5200. Now, if you saw when we move that slider, we could get 64 gigs at 6,000 megahertz. Storage, M2, a 2 terabyte M2 drive. They don't even tell you what it is. But you get liquid cooling, right? You see? It's nothing. This is not even any better. Yeah. $4,000. Come on, let's give us something. What do we have? I wonder what do you get? What do you have to do to get that memory speed? Surely there's something. Here we go. 5,600. That should be good, right? Specs. So you get a lot of RAM. 128 gigabytes, GDDR5. That's all they tell you. They don't tell you the speed. It's going to be slow. So that's where all your money went, is that memory there. Memory speed, 4,800 megahertz. And what type of SSD does it have? So you don't know what you're getting. So the lesson is you don't know what you're getting. Holy crap, it goes all the way up to $9,000. Whoa, 128 gigabytes of RAM. What is in here? Wow. Well, that's a massive SSD there. That's expensive. I'm going to tell you right now. I wish it showed you what exact SSD was there, but there's no reviews. Nobody's even bought this. Nobody will buy it. Anybody who's going to pay this much is going to build their own system. So you don't know what you're getting. You could be getting the slowest hard drive, the slowest solid state drive that exists. As long as it's 2 terabytes, that's all that their requirement is. And that's where they make their money. That's how they're making their money. They make their money on the RAM and they make their money on the SSD. They just give you the lowest common denominator. That's why we build it ourselves. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. I'm going to make more. I'm going to make an assembly video, assembling the computer. And then I'm going to make one for doing the wiring. So have a good one.